3. This is number 28. Is it a question? Okay, this is the one that you sent, Miss Woodward, that said that I didn't do part B. Okay, well, let's do it.
There's 2 more parts after the first part. So it's 3 parts.
All right, this is not a test question. Let me go ahead and reiterate that. Okay, now it says, what is the difference? I'm trying to find my whiteboard. Here it is. What is Janet's, that's my sister's name, Janet. What is Janet's total driving time from Bain, Washington, so that's Bain, Washington, to San Ysidro, California? So San Ysidro, you got to add all of them up. So let's do that. So 1 and 53. I'm just going to put a big 60 here. Well, I can't do that either. No, like what I can do, I'm doing this the easy way. So I'm going to put all my fractions over here. So 53 plus 36 plus 20 plus 3 plus 16 plus 39. Everybody with me? Now, 1 plus 2 plus 10 plus 5 plus 2. Add those up, and that's your whole number. So 2 plus 5 is 15. Is that 20?
Yep.
Okay, that's 20 miles, and then we got to add up our fractions. So I'm going to try to do this in my head. Okay, 53 plus 20 is 73. 73 is 109 plus 36 is 109. 112, 128, and then plus 40 is 148, minus 1 is 147. I get 147. Somebody check me. Somebody add those up for me and check me. Okay, I'm out of, is it 167? Somebody check me. I need 2 people to agree on a number. What is the numerator?
167.
Okay, I got 2 167s, so I must have added wrong. Okay, now how many times will 60 go into 160? Well, 60 times 2 is what? So that'll be 220 plus 2. And what is 160 or 120 from 160? 40 over 60. Show you a trick I learned in the war. Those zeros go out. And I get 22. And what is 4/6? 2/3?
I think I want it over 60 though. It says don't simplify.
I'm sorry, what?
It says not to simplify.
Okay, so 22 and 40/60ths. So let's check that and see if we're right. 22 and 40/60ths. And check. Okay.
That's where I got it wrong, because I did the same thing.
I have no idea what. Did I? Oh my God.
Oh, you can't add it. You
Okay, that is ridiculous. Okay, do y'all know why I got it wrong? Because I wasn't supposed to do the math. I was supposed to write it out. Okay, that is ridiculous.
Are you kidding?
Not before. Yeah.
It says to not perform it. You got to write it out, Miss Woodward.
I guess if I
understand
write
this,
directions,
Woodward?
yeah, I guess
You
if I
got to
the
write it
directions-
out. That's a waste of time in my opinion. But we did it. We just didn't type it in. And probably C is going to ask you to do it.
I finally got my question.
And we
There's
got
another part.
22. And does it say simplify? No, it doesn't. And 40 over 60. I have no idea.
Now I don't feel like such a failure.
No, don't feel like a failure. This is a stupid question.
How'd they
Okay,
get
47.
47?
I thought I got 47. No, I didn't. Okay. Wait a minute. Didn't y'all say it was 167? Why did I write 160? Didn't y'all say it was 167?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know why I wrote
It's a
160
failure.
there. I'm sorry. I just wrote 160.
Huh.
Okay. Well, if those guys hadn't come in here, it was their fault. They shouldn't have came in here before class. Okay, there you go. And that would be a 47 right there. And then that would be 47 over 60. My bad. You know, after 2 or 3 classes, you know.
Oh my God.
Okay, now it says Janet's total driving time as a mixed number. Janet's total driving time finds blah, blah, blah. Janet's total driving time in minutes. Oh my gosh. In minutes, hours, and whatever. Who was that?
22 and 47.
What's up, Tina? Oh, that was about 10 minutes ago. Okay, so that'd be 47 minutes. So 2 hours and 47 minutes. This is ridiculous. 2 hours and 47 minutes. What did I do now? Oh, 22 hours. I thought it hit the second 2. I'm sorry. Okay, this question is ridiculous, okay? So whoever sent this one beside Miss Woodward, you have a right to send it because it is ridiculous. It is going around the world to go home, okay? They could ask this question in 2 questions. Add up all the times, and what does it mean in 22 hours, 42 minutes? That is a round the world question. It is not a test question. You have permission to hit me if I put that on the test, okay?
Refresh that.
Refresh what?
Because it said it sent my question.
All right, that's 5.3. This is, let's see if this is the same one. Same question. I'm not going to worry about that question. I mean, I hope I expressed that it's not really a good question. Go over these 2. These are 2 questions. I don't know if we went over them.
I think we did.
Just want to make sure, yeah, we went over those. So left is 10.1. Oh my goodness, that means Friday. I mean, that means Friday we get to start a test. Okay, so
Do what?
10.1. I'm going to go ahead and go over 10.1. Is it very difficult? No. All right. Let me go ahead and hit the whiteboard, and I will go ahead and tell you about 10.1.
Before you start that,
Fraction.
can I ask a question?
Yes.
Okay, so I know you did it, but I forget how you did it. When you have, say, a 6 squared times 6 cubed, how would you simplify that? Would you just add the exponents together?
Yes, ma'am.
But see,
Anytime
I
you're
did that and they told
multiplying,
me I was wrong.
anytime you're multiplying, send it to me if you can, or it will let you.
I tried, it won't let me.
I don't understand that. Okay. Anytime you got the same basis, is that what it looks like?
Yes,
Is there any negatives in front of it or positives or anything?
well, the one after it is.
Okay, not this one. Okay.
No.
This is 6 to the 5th. you add the exponents, which is 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. Take your calculator and hit 6, x to the y, or that key, whichever key, the caret symbol, or x to the y, and then fifth, and then enter, or whatever y'all have, solve, or whatever.
I put that in as an answer, and it says that it's wrong. It says, although your answer is equal to the correct answer, it's not in correct form.
Did you try to type it in as 6 to the 5th power?
Yes.
You typed in 6 to the 5th power and the big number down here, and it said you were wrong on both of them?
Yes.
I wonder if you have to do it 6 times 6 times 6 times 6.
That's ridiculous if you have to do that. But try 6 times 6 times 6 times 6 times 6. Try that. I need to see the question and see.
I was going to say, go back on the question.
Let me go and pull up her.
Is this on 10.1 or is this next?
That's on 5.6. Let me go to your, let me see if it pulled it up. It hadn't pulled it up yet. So let me go to your,
Spending.
hold on, just give me a second. I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way, which is.
It's saying that the correct answer is 7,776.
What did you get in your calculator when you did it?
I didn't use the calculator.
Well, that's what I asked you to do a while ago. Put it in your calculator.
Oh, I thought.
I'm not trying to be smart. That's what I said.
No,
a while
I thought
ago.
you said
Type
to put it in like as the answer to write it out. How we had to write it out with that last one.
Hold on. Let me go back to the whiteboard.
That's what I
Right
get.
there. This is what you need to put in your calculator.
I mean, I got that 7,776.
That should be the answer.
So we don't write it as the with the exponent.
No, you write it 7,000. What'd you say? What?
776.
776. And that's trial by error. If that don't work, then you would type in 6 to the 5th. And if that don't work, I have no idea what to type in except for this. That's your only 3 possible answers. Now, what does the next one say? Does it have a negative in it?
It's the same exact thing, but with a negative.
Okay, the important thing with that one is where is the negative? So, let's look at, what does it say? Is the negative outside the parentheses?
It's negative. It's inside the parentheses. It's negative 6 squared times negative 6 cubed.
Is that what it is? Look
Yeah.
at it, make sure. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so that would be negative 6 to the 5th power, and anytime a negative is raised to an odd, the answer is going to be what? Negative. So your answer to this one is negative 7776.
Now, is it the same thing if you divide them?
Yes.
Like with its division?
Yes, if you come up with an odd exponent. Okay, let me show you. Let me go to another screen. There's 2 types of questions. You have 2 to the 2nd power. You have negative 2 to the 2nd power. And you have negative 2 to the 2nd power. All right, there's 3 examples. Now, all of these are raised to the even what? Exponent. Even exponent are always going to be positive unless the negative is outside the parentheses. So this one is positive 4. This one is positive 4. This one is what? Negative 4, because the negative is where? Outside the parentheses. If you have, this is with an even exponent. Even exponent. If you have an odd exponent, I'm going to go with the 3rd power. Negative 3 to the 3rd power, and negative 3 to the 3rd power. Okay? 3 to the 3rd power is positive 3 to the 3rd power. That's 27. Negative 3 to the third power is negative 27. And negative 27 is what? Positive 27. So you got to be careful. Got to be careful with what type of problem you have. Okay? Remember, if the negative is inside the parentheses, that's an indicator. Negative is inside the parentheses. With an odd exponent, it doesn't matter. With an even exponent, it does matter. But if the negative is outside the parentheses, you have to remember to multiply whatever number you get times that negative, because that negative has nothing to do with that square or that cube root. So, and there is questions on the homework like this. And the reason, I'll show you right quick, because what is 2 to the second power? That is 2 times what? Okay. What is negative 2 to the second power? That's negative 2. That's negative 2 times what? Negative 2. What's negative 2 times negative 2? Positive 4. This is negative parentheses 2 times 2. And that is negative with 4 in parentheses. And what's negative 1 times 4? Negative 4. Over here. 3 times 3 times 3. That's equal to positive 27. Negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. Well, what's negative 3 times negative 3? Positive 9. What's positive 9 times negative 3? So that extra 1, what's extra after 4? 5. What's extra after 6? 7. That odd exponent has that negative out here that does what to the final answer? It makes it negative. That's why odd exponents, if you have a negative to an odd exponent, it will always be negative because of that negative that's extra out there. And then this one is brackets, negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. And what's negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3? Negative 27. And it's got that bracket with a negative 1 out front. And that is positive 27. So when you're working with even exponents, you have to be just as careful if you're working with negative or odd exponents. You got to be very careful. Okay. Now, 10.1. 10.1 is what we call fractions, decimals, and percents. Now, I do realize that most of y'all know how to work with fractions, decimals, and percents, but I do go over it for those people that are kind of wishy-washy on it. Now, I have a fraction. An easy fraction is 3/4. Of course, you have a proper fraction. This is proper because it is bottom heavy. Okay? I don't know why I wrote problem there. I meant proper. Okay? My mind is going 15 different ways. I'm sorry. Proper. Proper is bottom heavy. Now, most of your fractions are going to be proper. But then you have improper. Improper fraction looks like this. And then, of course, you have mixed numbers, which are used for units of what? Measurement. Now, we've already talked about how to add, subtract, multiply, and divide, but what if we want to convert? Then you convert by just doing it. So if you want to convert a fraction into a decimal, you just divide 4 into 3. 4 won't go into 3, so you add a decimal and a 0. How many times will 4 go into 30? 7 times. 28 minus 2, add another 0. And how many times will 4 go into 20? 5. And that's 4 times 5 is 20 with a 0 remainder. So, 3/4 is the same thing as 0.75 or 75 cents. And if I want to write that as a fraction, go from decimal to a fraction, I just put, since this is in the hundredths place, I put that over what? 75 over 100, which will simplify down to what? 3/4. Now, I'm not going to insult anybody's intelligence, but most of you, if you've been in the 1st through the 6th grade, you've had this material before. Because that's one of the things you learn how to do, is change from a fraction to a decimal to a percent. Now, I'm going to get to percent in just a minute. Right now, I'm just going fractions, decimals, fractions, decimals. So if I give you 0.8, and I want to write that as a fraction, what place value is it in? It's in the 10th, right? So that's the same as saying 8 over what? Which is equal to 4 over what? 5. So I just changed a decimal into a fraction. Now make sure you can go back and forth. Make sure you can change from fractions, decimals, and percents. Do is what you want. Question on that. Now 11/7, you're not going to change that into a decimal. You're going to change that into a mixed number with a decimal. How? Well, you divide it, just like you did with this one. You're going to change that to 7 into what? 11. And I'm gonna put a couple of zeros there in a decimal because I know I got to have a remainder because I know 7 won't go into 11 evenly. But 7 will go into 11 how many times? One time. 1 times 7 is 7. 11 minus 7 is 4. Bring the 0 down to help out. How many times will 7 go into 40?
5.
5 times. 1 times 7 is, 5 times 7 is 35. You subtract, leaves what?
50.
50. How many times will 7 go into 50? 7. And that'll be 49. And then, of course, it's going to keep on going. But that's 1.57. And I'm just going to put 3 little dots right here. It keeps on going. Okay? So I just changed 11/7 into a decimal. And yes, you can use your calculator on this. I don't care because I don't really want to test you to see if you can do long division for 10 decimal points. Use your calculator. All right? Same thing with 2.5. You just change 2.5. Now you know a half. What's a half a dollar? 50 cents. So that's 2.5. Now, if you don't have it, you change it. If this was 3/7, 2 3/7. First thing you do is change it into a what? An improper fraction. 7 times 2 is 14. That's 17/7. And then you divide 7 into 17.00. And I would use your calculator or I divide it. 7 will go in there 2 times. 14, that leaves a 30. 3 times, 4 times is 28. 20, 2 times, 14. And of course it keeps going, 2.42. So 2.2 3/7 is 2.42. and it keeps on going. So make sure in 10.1 that you can change between a decimal and a fraction and a fraction and a decimal. And like I said, I'd say 90% of you probably have had this before. You just have to review it and recall it. Now, what about percentages? Well, there's two kinds of percent problems. And you should be able to go to percent, but always remember percent is two words. What does per mean?
Each.
Means over. And what does centus mean? Anything with C-E-N-T in it. Century, centipede, cent. What does centus mean?
100.
100. So anytime you're given a percent, all you have to do is put it over what? 100. So what is 20%? 20 over what?
100.
And then what can you do with that fraction? You can reduce it or you can make it into a what? A decimal. So what do you need to learn about percent? Well, most of the time in math, you go straight from a percent to a decimal because decimals are what you're going to use in formulas and things like that. So all you do, over 100, move two places and you get what? So make sure you can go from a percent to a decimal. Now, the two questions that I'm going to show you, there's two types of percent questions. What are they? Well, they are the questions, I call them sentence questions. What do you mean, sentence questions? Well, they're just a sentence. That's it, they're just a sentence. Here's one of them. You've seen them on standardized tests. You've seen them on SATs. You've seen them probably on this homework. Here's one. 2 is what percent of 40? And here's another one. 20% of 57 is what number? These are just what? Sentence questions. And when you have a sentence question, meaning just one sentence, you use is of percent over what? And most of y'all should remember that from somewhere. Somewhere down the line in 12 years of school, somebody should have shown you that. So what do? You plug and chug. What do you mean plug and chug? You go to your sentence, and let's say we're using, let's use per day. 2 is, so that's going to go right here. What percent, we'll color that Amarillo. That goes there. And of 40, dang old aqua. And where does that of 40 go? There's only one place it can go. Right there. Now what we're going to do? Plug and what? Plug and chug. Is 2 of 40 x over 100. And what do you do now? Cross multiply and solve for what?
X.
So 2 times 100, and you do not need a calculator for this. So what is 2 times 100? 200 equals 40. Divide by 40. I'm going to show you a trick I learned in the war. Divide by 40. Divide by 40, and look what happens. That 0 and that 0 is going to cancel. and you get 20 divided by 4 is 5 is equal to x. So 2%, or 2 is 5% of what? 40. These are called sentence questions. If you have a sentence question, you put it is of percent over 100. Now I'm going to have some people, oh, well, I don't do it that way. Well, then you do it however you do it. And if you get it wrong, don't whine. Okay? So let's do the second one. I want you to do the second one. 20% of 57 is equal to, or is what number? Sorry. So this time you do have a percent. So you're not going to put x in percent. You're going to put what? 20. Oh, I'm being so lazy this week. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe the alcohol is getting to me. Maybe I need to cut back a little
Mine's
bit.
lack of.
What?
I said mine's the lack of alcohol.
Oh, man, I kid my mom all the time. She's 80 years old, and I kid her all the time. People say, how's she doing? I said, she's all right if I keep her sober. And they just laugh. I grew up with a grandfather that always made fun of being drunk. He wasn't the drunk, of course. He just always made fun of it. Made fun of himself. You know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised on how much you learn from your grandparents and stuff. And of course, my daughter and my son are learning it from me. So sometimes their teachers like that, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes my son gets in trouble. He said the other day, one of his classes, I can't remember what class he was in, and she got on to my son about homework, and my son said, and she said, well, why didn't you do it, or something, and he said, because the Russians made me do it, or something like that, and she went, what? So he got in trouble for that, so I had to tell him not to use that in class. It was something. She said, well, she was trying to get to the point of saying, whose fault is it for you not doing this on your homework? He didn't do something right on his homework, in which he didn't tell me about it, because he told me I just have to do this, and did it, and he showed it to me, and I didn't, as long as he did it, it's all I cared about. I didn't check every little thing. And she's, whose fault is it? It's the Russians. And I went, oh, don't say that to your teacher.
That's the problem with like high school and middle school. They give you homework, but if you have a question, if you don't do it right, it's still your fault.
Yeah. And it wasn't after the fact, after he told me he got in trouble, I said, well, the homework doesn't say that. But anyway, let's plug and chug. So I'm going to go through, and you need to be doing this if you suck at this. If you don't suck at it, you don't have to. But I'm going to go through, and my is green. So where is my is? Right there. My of is blue. Where is my of? 57. And my yellow is 20%. Now we're going to plug each other. 20 over 100 is equal to X over 57. 100 is X is equal to 20 times 57. I want to show you a trick I learned in the war. I'm going to take this 100 and I'm going to divide it over here, but I'm not going to do it all together because that'll give me a number that I don't know about. So I'm going to take that 20, I'm going to take this right here and take that out. And what's 2 over 10? Well, we're going to leave that because it's easier to do it over 10. Okay, so what's 2 times 57? 154? Y'all check me. 154 over 10. Is that what 2 times 57 is? I'm sorry, it's not 154. It's 114. You get 114?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, that is correct.
Okay, now watch this now, because somebody, I guarantee you somebody in here has never seen this before. If I divide by 10, I count that, how many zeros I got?
1.
1, so I move the decimal, which is right here, move it over, and I get 11.4. I guarantee you somebody has not seen that before.
So, you know what I did was I didn't cancel out those zeros, and I got 1140.
And you move it over 2 places.
Yeah, and I divided
Good.
by 100. Got the same
Good.
answer though.
As long as you know, if you divide how many places here? 2. So whatever number you get here, you're going to move it 2 places. And that's how you divide by hundreds and tens. So that's 11.4. So you say to yourself, 20% of 57 is what? 11.4. Now that's one type of percentage question. The other type is what I like to call the Walmart equation. Now you are not going to see that in any book, because that's a hubrism. A lot of you do this when you go into Walmart or Walgreens or CVS or the grocery store. Let's say you got $5 in your pocket, or you were paying the game. I had somebody, I don't use cash, I use my, shut up, okay? You got $5 in your pocket, or $10, whatever the case may be. How many times have you walked into Walmart or whatever, and you say, okay, I got $10, this hamburger is $3.49, so I'm just going to say that's $4. And then this bread, these hamburger buns are $2.50, so that's $6.50. So $6.50 times 5% or 10% or whatever you've done it with taxes in your head. You know what I'm saying? You've done that before. You take it, you multiply, okay, that's $7. 7 times 5 is 35, so it's going to be $7.35. Y'all have done that before, right? Easily, have y'all done something like that in your head before?
Yeah.
Okay, settle down easily. Y'all are too loud. So,
We need cupcakes for some energy.
whatever. X, y'all, yeah, see, I knew that was going to happen. See, that's why I can't do nothing for nobody.
Well, I didn't eat it.
X
I just like to
plus
give
or
you that.
minus percentage X is equal to the total. That's called the Walmart equation. When my first semester teaching, I came up with that, and everybody uses it. I didn't invent it, but everybody uses it in their head. Okay, you take 7, and you say, okay, taxes I got to add. And then I take 7 times 5 cents is 35 cents. 7 plus 35 is $7.35. So I'm going to have to pay $7.35 for my, what I'm estimating. So that leaves me with $2.50. you've all done that in your head. I know you females have done it, so don't even sit there and lie. I know y'all have done it. Because y'all do it like that in your head, just like this. All right? So, what do? Well, plus, what do you associate with plus? Green or red? Or black or red? Which one? Which one do you associate with plus? Green or black, right? Okay, because red is always what? Bad. Okay, there's no red people in here, right? I haven't offended anybody. Any red people? Okay. All right. Red is bad. So I'm going to take a red, and you know I don't use red very much. And that's that guy. And I'm going to use Verde. Y'all said black. I can't use black, so I'm going to have to use green for, oops. You know, by the end of the day, my brain is about mush. Y'all know that? Okay, there we go. Now, somebody tell me what in real life is bad as far as money goes.
Debt.
Taxes. What else? Something you owe? Or what? Ain't no debt. How do you spell debt? Is it PT or?
That's it.
That's right.
What's PT?
Debt.
Department. That's, debt. Yeah.
Debt.
Depth with a T, with an H. Okay, so what's in green? Green, you have. But what in real life is the opposite of taxes? Starts with a T. My daughter fusses about them all the time. Tips. My daughter, she's a waitress out there at the galley. Is it called the galley?
Oh, yeah.
She keeps asking me to go, and I won't go.
It's good. It's expensive, but it's good.
Yeah, and you got half the people out there that can't afford it, and they're out there, and they tip my daughter like.
Listen, half the people that go out to eat can't afford it because half the people don't tip worth the crap because they
listen,
don't
we
know
got a
what
place
they're
called
doing.
Downtown Anderson, and half the people can't even afford to go downtown, but they do. And my daughter,
I'm just saying, them waitresses making $2 an hour.
she'll say, yeah, these people came in and bought $75 worth of food, and they only tipped me like $5. I said, Lauren, the reason they didn't tip you is either you were crappy or they didn't have the money to.
A lot
Only
of
way to give them
places
tips, you give them
now
free
are
stuff.
making it where they already have the tip on the.
I think that's great. I think all businesses should have that. Now, if the service is crappy, then they have the ability to dispute that. I understand that. But my daughter, as long as my daughter does not, I tell her, I said, leave me at the door. I said, go in there with your mama's attitude. Leave me at the door. Because if she goes in there with my attitude, I'm that person. You ever seen that commercial where the guy orders a sandwich and he has mayonnaise on it, and the waitress takes the top part of the mayonnaise of the sandwich and scrapes it off of the table? That would be me. Okay, so I tell her to leave me at the door. Leave my attitude at the door. Anyway, I have no idea. Tips? What else is? What about a bonus? What about commission?
I don't know about no
Bonus?
right?
Commission? What is commission? It's added to you, okay? Anything that's added is going to be plus. Okay, what about a discount? Is that minus or plus? Discount is taken off. Okay, so we all know that y'all pretty much suck at economics now. What time is it? Because it looks like y'all are. Is it time to go already?
Yeah.
I hate going to Wednesday, Friday. It's not my fault. Okay, let me stop the recording.
Are you recording?